Ohm's law. Before you get started watching this video, you need a copy of this Ohm's law note sheet from the box in class, and you're going to need a calculator. So if you are using your phone to watch this video, you're going to need a separate calculator. But if you're watching this on a laptop, your phone calculator is totally fine. Okay, so what's Ohm's law? Ohm's law states that the electrical potential difference between 2 points in a circuit is equal to the current times the resistance between those 2 points. So if you were to look at any 2 points in a circuit, you can get the electrical potential difference by multiplying the current and the resistance. So the formula for Ohm's law is V equals I times R. Okay, where V stands for the electrical potential difference, which is also known as the voltage. And it is in the unit volts. And we use a capital letter V to signify that unit, or to show volts. It's named after an Italian physicist named Alessandro Volta. I stands for current, and we measure current in amperes, or amps for short, and the unit for amperes is a capital A. And the last one is resistance. We measure resistance in ohms. Actually, yeah, ohms. And this is the one that is symbolized with a little omega sign, like that. Okay, so this is our equation for getting the voltage, but you can also rearrange this using some algebra to calculate either the current or the resistance. Now I'm going to show you a little trick for any formula where you have something equals something times something, or something equals something divided by something. You can use what I like to call the magic triangle for rearranging this formula. So basically, this works for like density formula as well, because it's density equals mass over volume. You put whatever the one is that's not being multiplied in the top, and then the two that are being multiplied you put at the bottom. And now if there's anything that you want to calculate, what you do is you cover that letter up and see what two letters are left and what their positions are. So for example, if I wanted to calculate the current, which is I can cover up I, and then what I have left is V over R, or this means V divided by R, so voltage divided by resistance. If I wanted to calculate resistance, I could cover that up, and then I'd be left with voltage divided by current. Okay, so if that helps, you can use the magic triangle. You can also just, if you wanted to get, say, the I by itself, to get rid of the R, you divide both sides by R, right? Whatever helps you. I'm also going to give you these formulas on any quizzes that we have. So if you want to calculate current, it's I equals V divided by R. And if you want to calculate resistance, it's going to be R equals V divided by I. Okay? All right. So doing problems with Ohm's law is like doing word problems in math. And I'm going to show you my patented less stress method to solve problems. TM, 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 TM. Okay, so L stands for list. So the first step is to list the values that you know, the values that are given in the problem. E is for equation. You write the equation. Third step, S stands for substitute. So you substitute the values that you know from the first one, from listing, into the equation. And the last S stands for solve. Okay. Let's give some problems a try. All right, so here it says a television that is plugged into a wall socket has an electrical potential difference of 120 volts. If a current of 1.25 amps is flowing through the television, what is its resistance? Okay, so remember we're using the steps. Less stress. Okay, so first we're gonna list our known values. L is for list. So the values I know are the ones given in the question. So here it says it has an electrical potential difference of 120 volts. Now on the previous page, I said that this is represented by V, right? Electrical potential difference is its voltage, and we know that it's 120 volts. So this is me making my list. L is for list. It also has a current of 1.25 amps. So current was I is 1.25 amps. Okay, and it's flowing through the television. And what I'm looking for, what is its resistance? That's what I'm trying to calculate. Okay, so that's it. I listed the values. Next step is to write the equation. So I'm looking for R. So I'm going to do R equals. I'm just going to flip my sheet over, and I'm going to remind myself that R equals V over I. Okay, so I'm going to write that. E is for write the equation. R equals V over I. Okay, check. All right, the first S stands for substitute the values. So we're going to take these numbers here and substitute them in to our equation. So my math teacher always taught me to work down. If you like to work across, that's okay. As long as it is neat enough that you can follow it, that's fine. Okay, so V, I look over at my list. V is 120 volts divided by I, which was 1.25 amps. Okay, so now is where I get my calculator out. The second S stands for solve. Here we go. 120 divided by 1.25 equals 96. It looks like my resistance is 96 ohms. Okay, you always need a unit. If you don't have a unit, it's wrong. Okay, and I would love it if you could put a box or a circle around your final answer. Makes it real easy for me to find it and give you a check mark. Okay, what do you think of the less stress method? Let's try it again. The filament of a flashlight bulb has a resistance of 40 ohms. So now that I know the steps, I'm gonna just right away underline that. A resistance of 40 ohms. If a 6-volt battery is used in the circuit, what is the current? Okay, so first step of less stress is list. Resistance is R, 40 ohms. 6-volt battery, I know that that's my voltage. It has a V right in there. That's nice and easy. 6.0 volts. And I'm looking for the current. Okay, so less stress. I listed. Now it's time to write the equation. So I'm looking for I. So my formula is I equals V over R. So that's what I'm going to write here. I equals V divided by R. I equals, okay, now I'm going to substitute. So the voltage was 6 volts, 6.0 volts. You can just write 6. 6 and 6.0 are going to be the same. And my resistance goes on the bottom. That was 40 ohms. Okay, so here we go. It was 6 divided by 40. So my current is 0.15. What was the unit for current? If you said amps, you were correct. Okay. There we go. Okay, there's one last one here. I want to do this kind of together. So a circuit board has a resistance of 12 ohms and requires a current of 0.25 amps. What electrical potential difference is required to operate the circuit board? So I want you to pause the video here and try to solve this problem, and then unpause it when you're ready for the answer. Okay, if you're watching this part of the video, I'm assuming you tried it. I can't be sure, but you should really try it and then watch this to see how you did, because that's the only way you know if you're still confused. Okay, so it has a resistance of 12 ohms. So resistance is 12 ohms. I'm listing. Has a current of 0.25 amps. Current is I, 0.25 amps. And then what is the electrical potential difference? And that is V. Okay, so list. Next is equation. V equals I times R. All right, so V equals 0.25 amps times 12 ohms. Okay, next step. So I substituted. Next step is solve. Last step. 0.25 times 12 equals 3. Okay, so in this case, my electrical potential that I need to operate this is 3 volts. I would need I need two 1.5 volt batteries to work this circuit. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please see me in class, but now you can move on to the next part of your playlist. Thanks for watching.